Yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, That Weeb, here back with another episode of What If Naruto Was Kryptonian, Part 6. So, let's get into the what if, and let's just do a quick review since it's been a few days. Naruto and the rest of the team were fighting the Bandit King and his servant, Shikai. So, Roku and Shikai are basically similar to the first threat that Naruto and his team will face. And now we're going to be getting into the fight and see what happens, because last time we had a big reveal that Roku actually is in possession of the banana leaf fan from the Sage of Six Paths treasured tools. So let's get into that. As Roku swings his fan directed towards Itachi as well as Yuki, suddenly a big burst of wind chakra comes flowing out of it, pushing Itachi even so hard back that he slams right back into the metal wall. As he falls to the ground, he rubs his head, surprised that this person could actually wield that weapon, and even wondering what it was. He then explains that this is the weapon known as the Banana Leaf Fan of the Sage of Six Paths. Naruto is too busy fighting Shikai to worry about it, however. He tells Itachi and Yuki to try and dodge those blasts again, as he doesn't know if they can take it much longer. Itachi nods, and then they get back into the fight. Yuki quickly dives behind Roku as she tries to activate the 64 Palms Jutsu. She hits about 4 of his chakra points before he takes the fan and blocks one of them, causing her to get reverberated off of the fan from its high chakra usage. As she falls back, feeling half her chakra has been drained away, Shisui comes running into action. As Shisui teleports behind Roku, they immediately begin to get into a higher level of fighting. Naruto, who is fighting Shikai at this point, is getting actually worked up, and as he flies around trying to figure out where he could be going, Shikai using his camouflage jutsu, is basically matching the ground so that Naruto can't sense him. Naruto tries to use his heat vision to see if he can use it to sense if there's any warm signals or cold signals. Shikai's unaware of this ability, and so Naruto does so, and it works. He can see the heat rays coming off of his body and flies toward it. Pretending to not go looking for him as if he's looking around, he then makes a sudden swerve left as he flies directly headfirst, pounding his head directly into Shikai's chest. Shikai spits out blood as his jutsu deactivates, and him and Naruto get back into hand-to-hand combat. Naruto's blows are heavy, and he feels like he's getting hit by a truck. He has no idea how strong this kid is, and it's ridiculous to the point that every time he can't block a hit, and even when he does block a hit, his entire arm shakes and he feels numb. Naruto's hands and fists make a pounding sound as they connect with Shikai's body as they get into a further taijutsu battle. Naruto then uses a little bit of the chakra that he has, and he creates a regular clone. He then makes the clone run forward at Shikai while he flies back. Shikai then knows that this is a normal clone since it can't do anything to him as he swipes through it. Immediately the clone disappears, and then suddenly Yuki's behind Shikai. He then says, "Do it now," and Yuki uses the 64 Palms Trigram Jutsu and deactivates all of his chakra points, causing Shikai to fall to the ground and completely pass out unconscious. Naruto then shoots a heat wave blast out of his eyes towards Roku, who's wielding the fan currently. Shisui and Roku are in a hand-to-hand battle with their weapons, respectively. Shisui using his own blade against the fan that Roku's wielding, going pretty much evenly as Shisui teleports out of the way of any blasts. Then using his adept flame jutsu, he uses them and surrounds his sword with the flame nature release. He then swings his sword forward, causing an absolute wave of heat to come blasting out of it. As the flames lick Roku's face, his hair begins to singe a little, and he blocks with his own flame attack. He uses the little bit less of his chakra in order to throw the entire power of his into the fan. As he launches this attack forward, the fan causes a large wave a tidal wave of flame to come roaring out of it. As the flame goes bursting into the team, Shisui tries to get out of there, as well as taking Itachi and Yuki. Naruto flies back, and as he's about to leave, he realizes he can actually stop this. To combat the flame tidal wave jutsu that he has seen, he then uses his own frost breath and takes a deep breath. As he breathes out, suddenly frost begins to form out of his cold breath, and the flames begin to cool down. Roku's absolutely amazed at this kid's jutsu, especially that he's not even using any hand seals. Naruto, who's using just his body's strength and his natural abilities, is pretty much not caught off guard. And as he attacks even further and further, him and Roku get into their own battle. He flies up with Roku as they begin to get into the air. Roku uses the fan and swings, batting at Naruto's head. Naruto gets hit and goes flying downwards into some trees in the forest. Shisui, Itachi, as well as Yuki are now waiting and see that Naruto's in a fight with him. Shisui then tells everyone to surround the two of them, and then when he says so, they'll all leap into attack at the same time, giving Naruto a time to give him a chance to strike. As the three teammates then all head around the side of the forest, unknown to Roku, who's being surrounded, Naruto's still in fist-to-fist combat. Naruto's punching and weaving out of every attack, and this is the point where he's about to get even more serious. Naruto, whose young body still isn't used to having as much power as he does from the sun, his actual body isn't used to generating all of its power at once. So when Naruto, for the first time in his life, actually puts as much effort he can into this last punch, he shoots his fist forward at speeds faster than he ever knew he could move them, and Roku barely is able to dodge. Behind Roku, suddenly, a big blast of air comes rushing out of Naruto's fist, as it completely decimates the forest for hundreds of miles behind him. Naruto's amazed at his own power, but it distracts him to the point where Roku gets a hit on him, making him fly to the ground. Roku quickly uses his own jutsu and drops the fan to the floor, knowing that he's used too much of his own chakra to power the fan so that he can manage the power and control its blasts. He drops the fan, as I said, and then begins to walk over to Naruto. Then suddenly from the treetops above, you can hear Shisui say, "Do it now!" Itachi rushes out of the tree line and jumps down, activating his Sharingan to become even more precise, as he then wraps his ninja wire as he throws it down, causing it to spin very similar to a shuriken. As the wire spins around, it begins to lock around Roku, who's trying to strain his way out of it. At that point, he then uses his own style of jutsu. You think that you can use this type of jutsu on me? He then, as he activates his own special jutsu that he's formed himself of being a bandit, he creates the ninja tool wire wall. He forms his hands together into the tiger signal, and then immediately you can see flames coming out of his mouth. The flames seem to have some sort of substance in them, and suddenly he's surrounded by a cage of metal, unable to be penetrated by any of their attacks. Shisui rushes in and begins to slice at the metal of his sword, but it seems to have no effect. Roku laughs and says that this is his ultimate defense jutsu, and that they'll never be able to penetrate through it. Naruto gets up after the blast and tells Shisui and puts a hand on his shoulder, telling him he can do this. He then activates his heat vision as he stares at the metal, causing it to melt around. Roku's amazed and also terrified that this kid has so much potential and is actually being able to melt through his iron jutsu. Suddenly, there's a hole that appears inside of the metal through Naruto's heat vision, and then Yuki as well as Itachi take this as their opportunity. Yuki thrusts an air palm jutsu to push him around as he goes smashing through the walls of his own metal container prison that he's formed for himself. Itachi then finishes him off by shooting a fireball jutsu directly inside of the hole, causing the entire inside to heat up like a microwave. Roku screams as he passes out to the ground as the flames and the wind begin to kill him slowly. As Roku dies on the ground, his jutsu deactivates and the wire walls surrounding the entire castle and camp deactivates, causing the metal to fall to the ground lifelessly. His metal prison then melts as it becomes just pure metal laying on the ground, as he lays there with nothing but a cold, dead look in his eyes. Naruto stands up and says that they didn't have to kill him. The rest of the team looks over to him, and then Shisui explains that this is the life of the shinobi, and that in order for people to succeed, others must die. And that's just the way that it has to be. Itachi looks down and says, as he puts his hands together, that he hopes that this man can live a better next life, hoping that he will live a good, virtuous life free from danger and pain. As he then closes the man's eyes, he then walks away as Itachi, Yuki, Shisui, and Naruto walk off. As they head back to the camp that had been raided by the bandits for so long, they then see the actual people there who used to be under the control of Shikai's mind jutsu. As they walk forward, they then explain that the bandits are taken down. All of the families come rushing out of the houses to thank them, and saying that they can actually have a crop this year and be healthy so that their children can eat. Naruto nods and says that all of the people who were in the town being forced under the illusion jutsu that Shikai had used should now be free. The bandits who they had seen before are now back, and, well, all the ones that are alive who they didn't run into. They run over and see that everything's okay, and they ask what happened to Roku and his vice captain. They explain what happened and that now that they've been neutralized, there's pretty much nothing left for them to do. As Naruto holds up a completely captured, roped up Shikai, who is being taken in for questioning to the Leaf Village, they then wave goodbye to the villagers as they head back to the Hidden Leaf. Shikai wakes up sometime halfway while they're walking back and asks where he is and what's going on. They explain that his master Roku's been killed, and now that they're taking him back to the interrogation village, they're going to learn some more of those jutsu that seem to be controlling the villagers, as well as the jutsu that you had used to camouflage yourself, which seems quite interesting. He then begins to struggle as Shikai screams no, that he wants to go back. He then cries as he thinks of his master Roku, who had accepted him and was now dead. He tries to put up a fight and is not going to have any effect. Itachi looks back at the sad man who's just trying to go back to that life he was in. Itachi explains that if he hadn't done those things to those poor people, then maybe he wouldn't be in this situation right now. Shikai grits his teeth as he just sits there silently on the rest of the way back. As they head back into the Hidden Leaf, suddenly, Haruko as well as Sasuke come running up to their big brothers. Haruko jumps into Naruto's arms and then smiles at him with his gaze at brilliant blue. He laughs as he says that his brother just did a really big mission, right? Naruto smiles and says he did. Sasuke is still sitting on the ground looking at Itachi and asking if he can train him with more jutsu. Itachi flicks his brother in the forehead and tells him that after this they'll be able to go train together. Sasuke laughs as he then runs away with Haruko back to the academy. As they take in Shikai to the third Hokage himself, they then say that the bandit mission was a success and that everything had been returned to normal in the village. Naruto then turns in Shikai to the interrogation team of the ninja Hidden Leaves, and then they go off on their way. Haruko then begins training with Shisui as well as Itachi and Sasuke and Haruko. Shisui trains with Sasuke as well as Haruko to try and work on their speed and taijutsu skills. Naruto and Itachi begin training together and grow even closer as friends, as Itachi, using his Sharingan, is actually able to dodge and avoid a lot of Naruto's attacks. Even though Naruto's fast, Naruto's actual perception of what's going on in a battle needs to be worked on. So this training with Itachi is actually perfect. The time has come almost for their next mission, and as Naruto as well as Itachi as well as Yuki get ready for their next mission, they head up to the third Hokage's office. Shisui then appears there as well, saying that this mission is a little bit different than their last one, as well as it shouldn't be too difficult. However, there will be some complications. The third Hokage nods and explains that the Sand Village hasn't been contacting them for several weeks now, and that the Chunin exams would be beginning soon, and they would be needing everyone to appear there. Itachi, who has now already been accepted into the Anbu and is training under Kakashi, understands what this is already about, and then, without devolving too into information, as the only one who knows he's actually been accepted into the Anbu himself was Shisui. He explains that the Sand Village has actually not been participating in many of the group villages activities for a while, so we're probably going over there to go check it out and see if there's something going on. Everyone nods and they begin to pack up for their journey. Haruko and Sasuke, who look up at their older brothers as they begin to head out, tell them to be safe, and then as soon as they walk out of the gates the second time for that next week, Sasuke and Haruko begin to fight together. As Haruko and Sasuke are only a few years away from graduating, as well as doing anything, a certain new accompaniment has now begun to haunt the village, as the Uchiha clan begins to present its plan to overthrow the Leaf Village. If you guys want to see the next part of this, as well as what happens with the Uchiha massacre, then make sure to hit the like button, comment down below what you think of this part, as well as if you have any suggestions for the future. I know that some of these are kind of custom storylines, but we'll be getting into the main Naruto timeline pretty soon, now that we're caught up with the Uchiha massacre. I basically took it and I moved it forward a few weeks, so, back a few weeks. So now the Chunin exams will be basically taking place this year, a few days or a week before the Uchiha massacre. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and make sure to hit the like button, as well as subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and hit the bell for notifications on my channel. Make sure to join the Discord server. There should be a link down below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
It's black and white.